friends, your friendly neighbourhood dogger here, and today I'm going to be doing something I've not really done before, and that is a review. Christmas. It's one of those odd times of year, you know, when we get the same old things happening in the media. You'll get a new Star Wars, you'll get Mrs. Brown's Boys on the telly for some reason, and ITV do their round-the-clock coverage of James Bond and Harry Potter. But today I'm going to talk about the one thing that I know the most about, and that is Doctor Who. This week we saw the end of Peter Capaldi's era with the episode Twice Upon a Time. It features the First Doctor and the 12th Doctor coming together alongside Bill Potts and somebody from World War One going up against the fearsome glass monsters. Now, before I go any further, this is going to be a lot of spoiler territory because a lot of the stuff that I have to talk about isn't really going to be spoiler free. So this is your spoiler warning. So, you know, if you haven't watched it yet, then, you know, don't watch this. Well, come back to this, obviously, after you've watched it. You know what, I've given you enough time. Okay, let's get started. So at the end of Series 10, Peter Capaldi, the 12th Doctor, had decided not to regenerate. He'd decided that he'd had enough. His body had been going on too long and he'd gotten too old, etc, etc. And then out of nowhere, in the snowy tundra, we saw the First Doctor arrive. Now, in the Christmas special, we find out that the First Doctor is going through his own crisis that is exactly near enough the same, which is why the TARDIS managed to land the 12th Doctor in the South Pole around the end of the 10th planet, the First Doctor's final story. We only get to see a little bit of Ben and Polly, and at first I was a bit miffed about that, but then I realised that the actors they got playing them look nothing like Ben and Polly. You know, they just popped them in wigs and the outfits. They sounded nothing like them, they looked nothing like them. So I wasn't too hard pressed, even though Polly is one of my favourite companions of all time, and I hope they find more stories involving her. That would be great. But I'm just glad that they didn't go too far into it, but I like how they started the story with it being the First Doctor and how he came to be involved in this story. We don't follow Capaldi from the start. I quite like that. And then Mark Gatiss' character came in a similar fashion. You find out how he managed to come into the foray. I liked that introduction. I loved it. I mean, it was a little bit different. I mean, granted, the pacing was a bit off, a bit odd, like it has been when it comes to Capaldi's era. The pacing in the directing has been a little bit here and there. It just seems to be overlaying each other, and I've never really liked that about the show of late. But thankfully the good actors managed to distract me from that. They then get captured after the First and the 12th Doctor have a bit of a chinwag, and they inevitably battle over the TARDIS and, you know, what the difference is, etc, etc, and for some reason Brandy. They get captured by this alien race, or, you know, this... Well, is it really an alien race? And that's where we come across Bill. Now, to me, Bill has been the only good thing in Capaldi's era. In my personal opinion, Pearl Mackie, Bill Potts saved Capaldi's era. This is because I never really thought that Jenna Coleman was good past Series 8, and the whole Series 9 thing, you could quite easily skip it and it would have practically no difference to the show at all. There's no fallout from it because you see at the beginning of Series 10 they've started from scratch, and I like that, and I was very, very happy to see Pearl come back. I'm very glad that they asked for her to come back, and in my opinion it kind of kept the Christmas special going. You know, you've got all of these fantastic actors. It got to the point where I think the one that I wasn't really looking forward to watching the most was Capaldi himself. I was excited for Bill coming back. I was excited to see what Mark Gatiss had to offer. I was excited to see the First Doctor come in the guise of David Bradley. But Capaldi, I was just like, well, going to change at the end of this? Might as well just go with the flow. So yeah, this alien race, they capture the TARDIS, and then it's up to the Doctors, Bill and this soldier, to go into the First Doctor's TARDIS and find out who this alien race is. And I'm not going to give too much away on how they find out who the creatures are, but it was nice. It was interesting. I quite liked the hark back to one of Capaldi's earlier episodes. I did enjoy that. Glad they didn't put like another new character in, because that would have been a bit too much. The way that it all falls out and comes about was quite nice. This idea that the villain, technically they aren't villains, they're not doing something evil, they're actually doing something quite nice. And I think it's quite a nice kind of Christmassy story. I think in the scale of 1 to 10, it's not one of the worst Christmas specials. I know I've been reading some comments that people have been saying that they've got a bit bored, or they got quite distracted because there wasn't a lot going on, and I can kind of see why. I remember watching it thinking to myself, it's very enclosed. We've had Christmas specials in the past where there have been massive forests, there's been a massive spaceship above London, just all that kind of stuff, and now it just seemed very condensed. Even the set of World War One, it just looked like they'd cordoned off an area of an old quarry, which I suppose goes in style of Doctor Who, really. But it just didn't seem big to me. It really didn't. It just weirded me out a tiny bit, really. And then we get to the ending. The ending. I will admit, the one time that I did get emotional was when you found out who Gatiss' character was. I've always been a sucker for the whole Brigadier thing. When in the end of Series 9 with the Robo Brigadier, that got me right there, and again, it's got me right there again. It's the only time that I got emotional throughout this whole bloody episode, which is a real shame because... Okay, I'm going to say this now. I'm getting really sick and tired of the new Doctor Who regenerations. I'm getting sick and tired of the big speeches. I'm getting really tired of the same old special effects. This glowing yellow light, this kind of idea that it's like fire. It's been roughly the exact same effect for every single bloody Time Lord in New Who, and I'm just finding it quite boring. They've substituted the individual effects that each classic Doctor had for a big grandiose speech, and with Capaldi it just seemed to go on and on and on. I mean, I wouldn't have minded so much, but I was dying for the loo. And I know what people would say, oh, why don't you pause it? I don't have TV where you can pause. I feel that would open up a whole big can of worms if I started that, if I'm honest. Yeah, I was just sat there trying to hold it in, just going, come on, hurry up, just regenerate. No, don't, not another bit of a speech, not another and another and another. Please, just, I need to go to the loo. I want to see Jodie. I want to see what she has to offer. I want to see her first moments as the Doctor. And he just kept on going. I know that's ironic because I keep on banging about it this night. But it just seems to me, if you look back through Capaldi's era, at least a third of his scenes involve him doing speeches. And at first I didn't mind because they would mean something, but after a while they just become white noise. And again, I wouldn't mind so much as well when it came to the regeneration with his speech, but it was just a rehash thing that he did in the end of Series 10. That whole, be kind thing. I'm just like, come on, at least say something that's somewhat new. I was getting I was like, twiddling thumbs, come on, make it happen. I mean, yeah, I don't like the big regeneration scenes these days, but at least with Matt Smith, it had pacing. I do remember watching the Matt Smith one and seeing the clock tower explode. I was thinking to myself, oh man, wouldn't it be brilliant if it was Capaldi coming out of the ashes? But no, they decided to do that whole thing in the TARDIS. And looking back, I'm just like, I suppose Matt Smith needs to have a last line that, isn't come and have a go, Daleks, or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was, even though I rewatched it last night and it made me cry. Capaldi didn't make me cry. Matt Smith, like a f***ing child. I don't think that the Doctor becoming a woman is a big thing, because Time Lords don't think that it's a big deal. I won't go into too much detail right now because I'm going to put up a link down below of a video that goes into a bit more detail, and it's by a YouTuber who I think is absolutely spectacular, Diamanda Hagen. She knows more about Doctor Who than anybody else I know. She has done some fantastic overviews of each series, classic to new, as well as a review called Twatty Who Reviews, which I highly recommend you watch. But she goes into quite a bit of detail in regards to regeneration, gender and sexuality. I totally 100% agree with her. So if you want, I can put a title card up there, or I can put, and I'm going to put the description down below in the thingamabob. So yes, please watch that. I'm really looking forward to seeing her. I'm really looking forward to seeing what she has to offer, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next. So I've been rewatching the regeneration just that bit, just because of her. It's just, oh, it's going to be so amazing. And for all those who disagree, for all those who think it's going to kill the show, it's okay. There's no such thing as a bad fan. If you have a passion for something and an opinion, and you watch it and you have a very passionate interest in something, you're a fan, you are a fanatic of that topic. If you're apathetic about the whole thing, and you're like, oh, I can't be arsed, blah, 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 and you dot in and out, you're not a fan. If you have an expressed opinion about it, oh, I like the fact that the Doctor's now a woman, oh, I don't like the fact that the Doctor's become a woman, here are my reasons why, you're still a fan. You're not a bad fan. You have the interest there. It is your journey with the show, it is your experience with the show. You're not going to like you're not going to like everything about it. That would be extremely biased. You need to be critical, and that's okay. So on that note, I'm going to leave it there. Twice Upon a Time, I'm going to give it 6, 7 out of 10. Mostly because Bill comes back, Mark Gatiss, David Bradley is the first Doctor. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Oh, and the special effects linking in the first Doctor story to New Who stuff. Loved that. More of that for next time, please, if we possibly can. Now, if the people directing and writing and shooting the whole thing could make it so it does come out in 2018 and we don't have to wait over a year, that'd be fantastic. But anyway, guys, I've been your friendly neighbourhood Docker. If you've liked this review, please tell me if you want to give your opinions. What did you think about the Christmas special? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, ding that notification bell, because apparently that does something as well. And I will see you in the new year. Laters.